Hello, it's Colette from the Sacred Rose Temple, and today I'm wanting to just talk about some hot topics really that are happening in the collective and what we're all seeing spiritually in a really great time of transcendence and a time of deep work on our souls and becoming more conscious than we have as human beings. So our collective is going to mirror back to us all the things that need to be worked on the individual level. And this is a key as we move through what's going to become the most crazy next few years as political systems begin to show themselves, banking systems, all the structures that we've known so far in our world are beginning to show their shadow to us. They're beginning to show the corruptness that these structures were indeed, placed in as a mechanical way of controlling the masses, of, manipulation, and rarely for the good of humanity. And so that's what I really want to focus on is the good of humanity and what is in its purest form and more high vibrational for us to be in, rather than those places that keep us in that low density and low consciousness. So I just want to begin with the obvious that's been going in our collective, and that's been the fall of the guru. I think it's been very blatantly clear that over the last years that the guru has begun to show itself as it really is, as the trickster, as the narcissist, as the person that we all project our own unseen, shadow and goodness on. And personally, I've had to do a lot of work with that, having been involved with a guru figure that, changed the way I saw seeing the world and made me look at my own shadow and my own shadow behaviors. And I think that that's the key that's coming out as we begin to see these schools of thought collapse. All that has held those schools together are the collective worship of them by people. And we must then start to question, what is it in us, the people that have held these structures up for so long? What is that trying to show us? So old schools that have been shown to be like deviant in behavior, but also light, schools like Osho and Muji have been shown to have held as equal light and shadow in the part that they played in humanity, bringing in like important and beautiful messages, but also us seeing that the human behind the guru was corrupt and in shadow and doing things that we would never have, put on somebody who was holding that kind of accolades, that kind of like position or recognition as an exalted person or a person with higher consciousness. So it's about addressing the balance, not projecting them as bad and those schools as bad, but as what was it in humanity that upheld the shadow in these places as well as the light. So it's been really interesting to see that the old school teacher is beginning to die basically in our collective, because the process of death is happening as we travel through the Kali Yuga. And what's being reborn is actually teachers that have gone through the journey. They're not claiming to be the enlightened soul born mysteriously through a body. They are saying that we have had really bad suffering or pain, and we have negotiated and learned how to deal with that emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and we've come out the other end. So that has been what has been seen out there, is all these teachers that are beginning to gather, that are gathering and sharing from an embodied experience, an embodied place. They've lived the path that they're trying to share with others. And I think that's really important. One thing that I had to work on myself was being able to see that there are certain teachers out there that portray and will share with the world words but the truth of the reality is not shown. So, for my own personal growth, I was asked by my psychotherapist, you know, that you're trying to portray to the world, where can you back that up with evidence? You can't say you're a witch or you're a medicine woman and you're not actually using those methods. You're not creating medicine. You're not doing, like witchcraft in the white witch kind of sense. So that's been really important to me, to be able to say, if I'm declaring something of myself, that there's proof that I am that I am living that. And this is where the guru was falling, and it will continue to fall, in that there's very many of these teachers out there that are saying, I am the priestess, I am the, and they'll dress up in certain scenarios to get good pictures for the media. But the living truth beyond those fancy pictures are, we don't see in real life the truth of that priestess who is, working at a basic level to, what is the priestess? She's somebody that works with bringing people's souls back to them, working with healing, working with sacred sexuality, working with all the modalities that we know of the priestess. So where's the evidence of that? And that's been really important for me in finding my own teachers as I've progressed on the path, to actually look for the evidence that those people are living and breathing what they are preaching, and not just sharing it through some really fancy photo shoot that they've had done. And that's important. Also, the amount of, teachers that are still, it's all about them. It is constant selfies of them and pictures of themselves rather than the world around them. And I see this often, in my own feeds, is these narcissistic, completely focused on themselves and what they're doing, and actually what they're doing and what they're showing is not matching up with what they're portraying. And that was a really good lesson for me. So we all need to just, have some self-regulation on that, where we're hero worshipping someone or giving accolade to someone. Actually, what is the truth behind that photo shoot or that social media? And is it really depicting a truthful portrayal, or just a social media marketing ploy? And that's key when we're choosing people to work with, and will become ever increasingly important as we begin to move through what is asking us to heal, to reconnect to our soul, to serve humanity and not ourselves. And that was very profound for me, was to say, like, where am I still self-serving? Of course, when we heal, we're having to serve the self, we're having to heal the self. But when we claim to be, these gurus or leaders, it comes with big ownership. It comes with huge soul karma to be proclaiming such and not truly living that ideal. And I fell short of this many, many years ago when I was involved with a guru and the teachings of that guru and working with women, in that, being self-professed, whatever you profess yourself to be, has to be a very deeply embodied experience. And you have to question that, and you have to have someone in your life that questions that with you. And that's key. Getting a teacher, getting a shadow worker that is constantly questioning you as you go. Otherwise, the soul weight of that, or the karmic weight of that, can be crushing on the soul and have a lot of payback, whether that's in this life or the next life. So for me, it's very, very important that I am able to support what I'm offering with my own embodiment and with regulation of myself, and working with someone who will regulate when I step out of the boundaries of what I am able to give people. So I think that's really important. The question is really, as we're coming into this new earth, is how are we serving others? And are we really serving others? Are we still serving the self? So I'm always in the borderline of teetering with this. Is this the work that's, bringing me in a salary? is the work I can do that doesn't bring in the money that I'm doing a service? And then where am I working towards a bigger picture of serving humanity? And for me, this is constantly on my mind at the moment. And I am constantly trying to make connections with those who are on the same mission as me that wish to become less self serving and more collective humanity serving those that need what we have been able and privileged to get, trying to provide and create establishments where people can come from help and support, and where we really do make a difference in society. And so that needs to be key in your mind. Like, where are we serving? How can we get to the place of serving humanity, and what does that journey look like? Of course, you can't serve humanity if you are in a place where you're unable to heal and serve yourself, if you're still, bogged down with trauma and things that are working through you that need healing. They come as priority. But as you're working through them, knowing that we're working through them to become more of a benefit to society, to support those people who might go through what you've gone through, and you can aid them and support them. So this is all been moving around my psyche at the moment as I have seen it. I also seen a very dear teacher who works online voice her concerns in the collective about the entrepreneurial ship that the spiritual world is entering, and how, this feminine leadership is talking about money manifestation and all of those things that come from a really shadowy place. And I'll share links to that underneath this video. She was sharing how she was embroiled in that, and how she feels deep shame for serving herself and the want to earn, seven figures, which is the new buzzword in the spiritual world, rather than really deeply look at healing and healing herself. So I hope that all leads some things whirling round in your head. So just to summarize, like, where are you projecting onto another? What's inside of you? So even going as far as what's happening in the collective, all the corrupt systems that are happening, all the corruptness and the war and the government and the energy prices and the pandemic, like, where is your part in that? Otherwise, you just go through a process of blame, 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 and you're not actually really working on taking the ownership that could actually move all of this that's happening in our world. Secondly, are you being, selective of who you are working with? Are you pulled into the glamour of what they share, or actually what their life entails and what they stand for, and what is shown rather than shown through the veil of marketing? So that's key as well. And then third, about serving humanity. If you feel the call to serve humanity, know that it's a journey. And until you serve yourself and heal yourself, that becomes really difficult. There are always small ways in which you can serve humanity. There's always the small gestures in being kind, in being truthful, in helping others when they need it. But that greater picture of serving humanity comes after we've done a lot of work on ourselves and we've healed a lot of our own pains and traumas and wounds, and come out the other side and say, what's really important actually is that I make a difference in the world and I leave a legacy that helps others, rather than I just think about how much money I can make and how popular I can become on social media and what kind of glamour my life looks like. So sending you much love as you ponder, hopefully, on some of those messages, and look forward to connecting with you again soon. Bye for now.